Hey guys, subscribe for daily content. And if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got a short little knife review / knife overview to share with you guys. This is the Civivi Sinisys. What you're looking at here is sort of a carbon fiber G10 laminate with Civivi's Damascus steel, and it's a bit more expensive. The base version of this knife is G10 or micarta in 14C28N steel, and it costs about $66. It is available right now. I will link it right down below so you guys can check it out. It does help my channel when you use my links, but that's entirely up to you. Thanks to Civivi for sending this in for me to take a look at, and please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. And thanks to my generous patrons as well. Let's go ahead and get a quick measurement. Overall length, this is a pretty big knife actually, 8.5 inches. Overall blade length is 3.75 inches with about 3.35 inches of cutting edge. Just a couple of size comparisons up against the Ontario Rat Model 1 and the Ontario Rat Model 2. You can see that this is exactly the same length as the Rat 1. How about we put it up against the Demco 80-20.5? There we go. How about up against the Spyderco Para 3? There we go. And last but not least, let's put it up against the Bug Out. Alrighty. How's the action on this guy? This is a steel frame lock, which is not my favorite thing in the whole world, but you know what? It does all right. It's got Civivi's typical pretty smooth action. There's no double clutch. Really just a little bit of encouragement to get it to close, and the detent is tuned really well. This is pretty much exactly what we expect from Civivi. That feels like I've handled this knife about 200 times now, but it is apparently a different model. It just has a steel frame lock, right? Let's go ahead and weigh it because the steel will make it a little bit heavier than you might expect, at least for a Civivi. 5.08 ounces. That is one of the heaviest Civivis that I can remember. Probably not the heaviest, but definitely on the heavier side. Still, though, nothing crazy. It's, sorry about that. Just smack the phone with the scale. It's about, it's a little lighter than like a full-size Microtech SOCOM Elite. Those come in at about 5.3 ounces and are about 9.25 inches, but that's just, that's what happens when you make a frame lock out of steel, right? Let's go ahead and do a hardware check. I'm going to get my tools. Oh, you know what? First, let's talk about the balance. This thing is definitely butt heavy, and it's balanced a little further back than the middle of that choil where your index finger normally goes. So with this knife, you are going to notice the weight a little bit more than other 5-ounce knives that are maybe balanced a little better. The pivot is, I'm sorry. My tools are very inexpensive and very recommendable. You can find them in the section of my description that talks about the tools I use on this channel. All the body screws and the pivot screw are T8. The pocket clip screws, I'm not going to check them. Those are T6. That's nice. It should be pretty easy to disassemble. Minimal hardware, good sized fasteners, everything we normally expect from Civivi. Let's go ahead and measure blade stock thickness. Probably, I'm going to guess it's 115 thousandths. Yeah, I got one right. It says 116.5. It's probably, my calipers are probably off. It's probably 115 thousandths. Alrighty. Have we done everything? Yeah, let's go ahead and move into the meat and potatoes here. So this is a new Civivi model. It's really similar to, and I know it's like, come on, Complex, don't complain, don't nitpick, right? A lot of Civivi stuff looks really similar to other Civivi stuff, right? But this really looks like, I can't believe that this is a model that I have not reviewed, right? Ergonomically, pretty good. You can choke up, right? Disengagement of the lock bar, pretty good. Flipper tab, good. Truthfully, yeah, this is a good design. What I don't like about it is the titanium frame lock. If you're new to my channel and you're like, what? I feel like you're skipping over a lot of things you should talk about. Anybody who's watched my channel for a while knows that I have reviewed probably 100 knives that are extremely similar to this. This doesn't have anything that I haven't seen before, and it doesn't have anything that you most likely haven't seen before, right? The average person who's even remotely interested in pocket knives, who has ever watched a YouTube video on pocket knives, has probably seen almost exactly this before. There's really nothing special here, right? At base, though, it is good, right? For anybody getting frustrated with me not giving this what it's owed, yes, it's fine. The cutting edge, the cutting geometry is good. The ergonomics are good. This feels like a tool that can easily be manipulated. It was obviously designed for the human hand, right? Probably a little bit larger hands, right? But it does feel good. And the cutting geometry is good. The blade shape is also, right? It's kind of a traditional large clip point blade. We've got a little bit of a swedge right here. Nice puncture tip, right? Civivi's patterns on their Damascus, I'll admit, are getting a little bit better. This looks a lot better than some of the pee-pee-poo-poo that we saw in the early days of Civivi's Damascus, right? Their patterns are much more crisp. The etch is much more crisp. It's less foggy, right? Like a child with, a blindfold and 10 black magic markers taped to their knuckles punching a whiteboard. That's what it used to look like. I'm sorry. I didn't think about what I was saying until I said it. But yeah, that's what it used to look like. Now it's much more crisp. What is this? It's a 9CR 8CR combination. The edge retention will probably be something similar to 440C, which is actually all right. And it should also be stainless, reasonably tough and probably easy to sharpen. I mean, if you're going to go with Damascus in this territory, Civivi's Damascus for performance is not a bad choice. What's a bad choice is that stuff that's on Amazon for about $25, right? I know it looks cool, but it's actually camel vomit. Like, it's actually pretty bad. For performance, yeah, if you're gonna do this. Now, the better option though is to go with the 14C28N for almost $40 less, $34 less. On the standard version. The 14C28N is going to be a better, more balanced composition, more performance-oriented for a general EDC. But this is fine. And I am happy to see that Civivi, it looks like they're improving. I mean, seriously, that looks a lot better. It's not fantastic, right? It's not, but it is a lot better, right? So yeah, that's fine. There's not much else to say about the blade, right? I can't stand carbon fiber and G10 laminates, right? It's not carbon fiber all the way through. It's a very thin strip of carbon fiber sitting on top of what is mostly G10. I think it looks really cheap. But if you like how it looks, then that's fine. That's all that really matters, right? I would rather it be all carbon fiber or all G10 and have them charge us appropriately. But this feels like, look, the front of it looks like carbon fiber. That'll be $100, which is literally what this costs. Don't like that so much. There is a mounting position for lefties. So lefties, you can mount the pocket clip to your preference. It's still a right-handed frame lock, but as you can see here, this is really easy to manipulate with my left hand, and most left-handed people know this. They've just had to deal with the fact that 90% of folding knives, literally, on this in this knife world, are made for right-handed people, so they've probably just had to deal with it before, right? This is easy to manipulate. There is no lanyard hole. There is a lanyard bar, which is the best way to do this. I've always praised Civivi for doing that, right? Just get it out of the way, put it back here. The 7 people in the world who are left who still like lanyards still have that option. The rest of us don't have to deal with it. I'm kidding. Don't crucify me. The pocket clip is still the Civivi pocket clip. It still has this huge goose bill, and it's very grabby. The first thing you walk by that is slightly sticking out and you rub up against it, this pocket clip is going to grab it and bend itself out, which sucks because this is a steel clip, and it is a stamped steel clip, and steel's not nearly as forgiving as titanium. The best thing for Civivi to do is reduce this bill by about 40%. And just stop it after the initial ramp instead of coming up and over it. That is the grabbiest bill I have ever seen. Not really, but it's very grabby. That's why I don't like this. Other than that, though, it functions just fine. Nice deep carry and should slide in and out. It should actually, go over most pocket seam thicknesses, and it's got a smooth surface to pinch against, so no big deal there. There is a stop pin located in the traditional place. Nice shouldering there. No blade play up, down, left, or right. No lock stick. No double clutch, no pivot lash, and nice smooth operation, honestly. Good detent, about what we expect. Perfect centering. No detent lash. It's what can I say here? It's fine. If you like how this looks, you're going to be happy with it. This knife has had no chance of winning any awards with anyone. Every element of this knife is something that we have seen, right? I am a design reviewer, and so if I think something is utilitarian and functional and has a good price on it, then I'll mention it, right? That is the case here. Here's the nice things I can say about this. This is a good functional knife. I think the price is reasonable for the base version, 14C28N. I wouldn't go with this version, but if you like it, go ahead. $66, 14C28N, G10 or micarta, steel frame lock. Not the most amazing price I've seen in the whole world. In fact, it has an enormous amount of competition, but it's all right, right? Good cutting edge, right? It's designed well. It has all that, right? There you go. Outside of that, it is unbelievably boring. This is an incredibly forgettable design. I like, as many knives as I've handled and seen, and as many knife videos as you guys have likely watched. We like to be wowed. We like to be impressed with new things, right? This is not a new thing. This is not a spectacular thing. This is not something that will go down in the history books of the knife world. It's probably not intended to, Metal Complex. You're being too harsh. You're right. It probably wasn't intended to be, right? But as it sits, this is just factually unimpressive. It's fine, right? It's just like it's just like if I were a teacher and I assigned, my students to write an essay. I'm like, here are the instructions, right? It needs to achieve an A, it needs to include this, and this, right? And then I get one turned in. And if somebody follows the instructions perfectly, right? And it includes all of the elements that I needed. But, the essay itself was just horrifically bland, right? It's just like, here's facts, And it's like, well, to be fair, it is an A, but I also I just won't remember it, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm turning into a grouch. I've been doing this. I've been reviewing knives for almost 5 years. I like Civivi. Every now and then, they put out cool stuff that really wows me, like the Cachet. Ooh, that was spicy. I like that one. This, super boring. And I honestly put off reviewing it because I knew, I was like, another backlash-shaped, Civivi. It's fine. I will put it in my cheap knives I like playlist. Not this version, the standard 14C28N version. That's the one that's under $75. But it's not a knife that I'm going to tell people they need to rush out and buy. So, there was a lot of filler in this, and I still only made it a 12-minute upload. Okay, that's enough. This will be linked down below if you guys want to, tell me to kick rocks and you want to buy it, enjoy it for yourself anyway, which is perfectly fine. That's really all that matters, is that you enjoy it. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex logo right there and subscribe, because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.